Man, it has been a while, hasn't it? And you're probably wondering, where the hell have you been? Let me tell you, I have quite the story. I don't even know where to start on something like this. Do I start with the good news? Do I start with the bad news? Do I start with the current news that could be good news and make me feel better? I guess we'll start with this weird-ass room I'm in. So about 6 months ago now, I bought a house. Decided to turn the living room into essentially a ballroom, with the theme being that of the ballroom from Beauty and the Beast, or even the legendary Amber Room of Russia. So it's got kind of this gold tint to it. Only part of the wall is gold. Up above, it's more of a pearl. This is all you're getting to see right now. So we have planned a big revealing video. Unfortunately, because we had to do most of the painting and ripping the carpet out and everything in basically a day, it's all going to be photos because there wasn't time to set up the camera and all that. I actually didn't think I'd be able to get the room done when I wanted it to be, so I was actually going to pull the carpet out last and end up doing it first, and then worked a bunch of overtime, and it was like, oh hey, I've got the money to paint the room now. So we bought it and did all the painting in a day, which it took an entire day. It was like 4 coats of like the primer and then 3 of the main color. Like I said, it's actually 2 colors. There's like 3 coats on each one. We'll get into that in that video. So that is something we're working on, but again, it's going to be basically us talking over a slideshow if we can make this happen, because editing is a pain in the ass right now. See, right over there on the table, you can't see it because it's a big cluttered mess, is my old Toshiba, the one that had all my old videos, all my editing equipment, all that on there. It finally died. Keep in mind, my mother bought that laptop for me before she passed away, so that thing's from like 2013, so I've been able to keep it going, but it was on its last legs, and it finally died, and I'm not even bothering with it. So I don't really have a good way to edit things. I'm probably going to upload this to my music laptop, edit it real quickly, and it's not Movie Maker anymore, but whatever comes with Windows now for an editing software, throw it up onto the YouTube, and then probably delete it from the hard drive, which I hate doing. I like having a backup, but I don't have any way to really back things up right now. Yeah, I'm talking kind of fast, but again, I want to keep this fairly simple, but it's not simple. So, where have I been? Okay, so 6 months ago, I bought the house. You all know I'd had this long-distance relationship going on for a while, and it just got ridiculous, the things happening that were keeping us from being together. It was at the point where I would go, and I'd have to stay in a hotel, because she had to move back in with her parents, and her parents were like, we don't want him staying here overnight with you. Like, we are both too old for that kind of crap. Like, I'm not playing that game. Didn't want to bother my parents, especially with COVID and everything. Couldn't come back to my place because I had a roommate and all this other stuff. So I'd be going there like once a month. That'd be it. I could go once a month and stay in a hotel, and then I'd work the whole rest of the month to get money to go. And it's cost me like $400 or $500 to go visit her for basically a day or two, to stay at these hotels and everything. And she was having issues, especially with her job and everything. And I finally was like, screw this. Like, we were talking about finding a place, moving in together, but we're talking about doing it like this time of the year. And this was, of course, 6 months ago, and I'm like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to find this house. So the house is funny. We actually found the house back like in January. We first kind of started toying with the idea. I was like, well, I might as well start looking at houses now and get an idea of what's on the market. And we're like, this place is perfect. It's very much us. And so I made a comment like, well, if it's still available in like 3 months, I'll check again. Well, it was like 3 months to that day when I actually came and looked at the house. And the funny thing is, like, the house has been in the market for quite a while. Houses around here sell like crazy. They'll be up and they'll be sold like in a week. And this one had been up for months. Like, this been put up like in November, and again, this was May. So that was kind of weird. And like, I was expecting, like, when I brought the housing inspector in, that it was just going to be like everything's destroyed on the inside, and the place is perfect. The guy couldn't believe it. So this place is old. I mean, you know my style. The place is built in like 1908, so it's got some quirks. But we spent everything we could to get in here. I used my VA loan, get her moved out here, which we're not even done moving her yet, surprisingly. That she still has some stuff in Iowa. We're going to get to that. And so we've got like no money at this point. We're moving her out here. We're getting everything going. And within the first month, pipes break. Old house, again, over 100 years old. It's got old pipes. We knew this when the building inspector pointed it out. Here's what happened. I broke the pipes, not on purpose. So there was this weird metal rod sticking up in the basement, and there was a wire connected to it. And I was able to trace the wire back, and it was the doorbell on the back door. So I figured it was just a grounding thing, you know, what else would it be? I was taking some pallets down into the basement. One of them dropped, hit this metal thing, and now I've got water shooting everywhere. Shut the water off, called the plumber, and it turns out it was an old galvanized pipe. Everything in here is out of date, out of code. It was grandfathered in, but if we needed anything done, it had to be updated. This was on a Sunday, and their original quote is at like $8,000. Not going to happen. So after discussing it with them, we were able to give them down to like $4,000. I went to get a loan from the bank. That was a whole process. They really didn't want to give us the loan because we just got the house. We had like no equity or anything. Like my credit looks good, but I got nothing else going on right now. The short version is we went over 2 weeks without water, without running water. We had to go get a gym membership and shower at the gym and go to the bathroom at the local gas station. And that just sucked. Don't recommend it. But they get the job done, and they tell us later, like, hey, we could probably do the job for almost half of what we initially quoted you if we leave the old pipes in place. They'll just be dead, and we'll bring the new pipes in. Great, let's do it. I'll save money anywhere I can. I can pull the old ones out later. So it actually cost us, like, around $2,000. So that was awesome. That's all taken care of. And the nice thing about that is they're all new PVC pipes. I'm sure those old metal ones probably were prone to freezing up in the winter, which happens around here in these older buildings. So at least it's done. But that screwed us over. And now I got to pay back this loan that I can't hardly afford. Again, wouldn't have been a problem. I hate to talk about her situations on here, but we've discussed talking about it on our other channel. We'll get to that. And she's just not had the time to sit down and do it. So I'll give you the overview before all this all happened. Everything was good. She actually got a job. She came out here about 2 weeks before the house was closed on. So one of the deals with the VA is they don't want any lead paint, like especially chipping away, and there was some outside. So part of my offer on the house was I would take care of that before I actually owned the place, and the owner was cool with that. So I brought her out here to help me, and it was like 2 weeks before closing. She was going to come out for a week, and then I was going to take her back to Iowa for a week, and then we'd go from there. We stopped for a place at lunch by the house, a place I like, and they offered her a job. Like on the spot. I said, you should talk to somebody to see about a job, and the owner was there and offered her a job like right then and there. So I was like, well, we're closing the house in another week, you might as well stay out here for the 2 weeks then. So everything was going good. Everything was going great for a month. The pipe's breaking, kind of tip of the iceberg. Her situation was she's going to work one day and it was raining and she slipped and fell down her front steps and slammed her spine right on the edge of the steps. I ended up having to quit the job because of that. She's been having all kinds of problems. She recently found a new job, but I'm talking recent. She just started fairly recently. But that happened. There have been more ER and doctor visits in the past 6 months than I've been to at any other point in my life combined. So it has not been fun. The dog actually pulled me down the steps, so I had a similar thing happen, but it was nowhere near as bad. And I'm probably lucky the dog was there because he helped me back up. That was Solomon, not Thor. But last time you saw Solomon, he was a little itty bitty. He's like 70 pounds at this point. So, of course, he was able to pull me down. And he's learned, too, because he'll go bolting out the door to go outside, and he'll stop at the top of the stairs and just sit down and look at you like, do I go now? And he'll slowly walk down. So he learned. He's smart. And I'm not mad at the dog or anything. He didn't know. We've had that happen, and she's had to have a surgery for a kidney stone removal a couple weeks ago, and she's got oral surgeries coming up, and so we've got all these medical bills piling up. We're doing all this stuff. I've been working as much as I possibly can, and it has been stressful, and I would like to make videos because that helps de-stress me, but again, I'm out of really a situation with that because of the old computer. So we had done a few on another channel. So back before she moved out here, we were discussing this. We were watching, and I brought these with me, the old Phantom of the Opera and Nosferatu. Now these were done back in the early, like maybe late 90s, early 2000s by Cleopatra Records. Throwing stuff around. Not even going to bother trying to edit that out. So the Phantom of the Opera is one I really like, and it uses nothing but the music of Switchblade Symphony. Nosferatu uses a bunch of industrial goth bands. But we were watching Phantom of the Opera, and I mentioned how I couldn't stand how one thing they do in this is they're constantly changing the music. In some places it works. One of the early scenes of the film, you see the scene of the ballet, and it has one song, and then the guy's talking to the office, the new guy's buying the opera theater, and it's a different song. And for that, it works. But a lot of places, it's like, especially if you're a fan of Switchblade Symphony, you'll be getting into the song, and then it'll switch to something else. And I was like, it really should just let the songs play. I was like, I could do better. In case you didn't know, I did used to DJ. You all know my background in music, and that is something that I did. But in my old living situation, there was nowhere to leave equipment set up. We've discussed this on the channel before. I couldn't even have my guitars out or even easily accessible. So I started getting out my old DJ equipment, started DJing again, and it was like bliss. It's kind of zen, kind of like making videos like this. So our whole idea was we were going to start another YouTube channel, and we were going to do like old silent movies, because we're both fans like these, and then I DJ my own soundtrack over it. Problem we've had there is I tried to upload some of my mixes to those channels, and it's not working. Copyright claims, of course, but other DJs I know are doing the same stuff, so I started talking to them, and they said, yeah, it's not a terribly big deal, but you basically have to go and file a grievance or whatever for every single song in your mix. I got time for that. I barely got time to do the mixing. So I've just been uploading everything to Mixcloud. If you don't know, Mixcloud is kind of like SoundCloud, but SoundCloud is for musicians to upload music, and Mixcloud is more based for DJs to upload the mixes of other people's music. So we were discussing this. I said, I still really like this idea, and I was like, why don't we edit the old movies together? Because a lot of them are like, 10 minutes long, and we talk about like editing together, so you'd have like an hour-long thing of a couple of short films and the mix over it. And I was like, we could do what Riff Tracks did back in the day. We could upload it to Mixcloud, put our edits together of the movies up on YouTube, and then have a link to the Mixcloud so you could go onto the Mixcloud on like a second window or whatever and have that playing over top of the film. So I figured I'd go ahead and bring this up because if this is something that sounds interesting to people, go ahead and start doing it. And we're going to do it here because the other channel that we started together, that's what it was for, and it never really gained traction. And it basically became a vlogging channel, and I told her a little bit ago, I was like, if we're going to keep doing this, let's just upload stuff to my old channel where there is a fan base. Maybe what we're doing now is not applicable to a lot of the people that are in that fan base, but some of them might enjoy it, and it would be easier to promote things here. So yeah, there's actually a whole video on the other channel of us talking about the plumbing, and I actually go in the basement and show you what all happened, including the old and new plumbing. But yeah, that wasn't picking up, and I just miss doing the stuff here, if I can. So, a bit of a channel rebranding going on. As far as the channel title, probably going to leave it the same. Might change it. We'll get to that later. It's not really important right now. So that's kind of the bad with the fun thrown in. The other thing, this goes back to the bad, I mentioned getting her stuff out of Iowa. Gaming content. For the moment, non-existent. Might do some stuff in the future, but it's not going to be like what it was. So she had stuff at she had stuff at her parents' house, and we got all the stuff out of her parents' house, but she had a lot of stuff at a friend's house. And she'd been trying to get a hold of them to let them know what was going on, and it wasn't working. So she has that accident, all this stuff's going wrong, the plumbing breaks. We're basically bleeding money, we need stuff. I started selling games. And I did everything I could to keep my Master System. Like almost all my Nintendo stuff was gone. All that huge box of like Japanese PS1 and 2 games gone. And I got to the point where I was like, I think we'll be fine. And she gets a message from one of her friends that are like, hey, you need to come get your stuff like this weekend, or we're throwing it out because we haven't heard from you in a while. So she gets a hold of them, and she's like, here's what's up. And they're like, we don't care. This is our house. We want our stuff back. I can understand that, but they're also not cooperating with us when we literally have nothing. And we've gone through all this other crap. So I says, look, there's a storage place up the road from you guys. I'll pay for a storage unit if you could just take it over there. Nope, not doing that. Not really sure what the deal was with that. Like, you're willing to take it to a dump, but not the storage place up the street. Well, you all know my cars needed tires since about the time we got the thing. And every time we got the money together, something's happened, and I've had to use the money for other things. So that was the big thing, was we didn't want to go to Iowa again without new tires. And here we're thinking we're probably going to have to rent a truck. So I sold the Master System. I sold the system, controllers, all the games, because that's kind of my all or nothing system. I couldn't just get rid of some of it. It got me enough that I was able to get all new tires, and we had the money set aside to rent a trailer. We get out there, and we discover that despite having the hitch and everything, there's actually no electrical hookups for a trailer. So we couldn't rent a trailer. So we've made 2 or 3 trips to Iowa now and just loaded the car up with what we could and brought it back here. And it's at least one more trip, possibly 2. They're finally cooperating now, but yeah, everything's basically gone. I was actually looking at getting rid of my Master System stuff before we moved. It's a good thing I didn't. I had another YouTuber who I talked to on occasion who was going to buy it off me, and I was going to give them a really good deal on a lot of the stuff, but that didn't quite pan out. But probably a good thing because I was able to sell it to Freak Toys, and they gave me as good of a deal as a local store is going to give on something like that. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, it would have been cheaper to sell it yourself." Yes, but I needed money at that exact moment in time, so I could go do something like 3 days later. So, if I do any gaming stuff, it might just be us sitting down and discussing like our memories of the game, like Happy Console Gamer or something. There wouldn't be any gameplay footage or anything like that. As far as things I kept, I did keep like the Super Nintendo. I kept my Nintendo system, but I got rid of all my American games. I just kept my Famicom stuff. I got rid of a lot of the GameCube. I did keep the GameCube because I like the Game Boy player, but I did get rid of some of the GameCube. But yeah, Master System and NES are just like gone. Was able to get a hold of an emulator for real cheap, and I've been playing around with that, but it's not quite the same. When you're used to how they play on the actual system, it's different. And it kind of like, I found like the Asterix game for the NES from Europe on there, and I was like, cool, and I started playing that. I'm like, this is nice, but I really like the one on the Master System. Then I'm kind of like depressed. So, and again, as much as I'm working lately, I'm talking 60 plus hours a week. Not had much time to really play around with that. If I have free time, it's like I come home in the morning like I am now, and I start DJing for like an hour, and then I go to bed and do it all again. So, yeah, that's what's been going on. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. Hopefully we can get the video of our ballroom up once this is done. It's not quite done. There was other stuff I wanted to do, like changing the chandelier out, which may or may not happen. I do have like a little DJ booth set up. So hopefully we can get that video out, and again, maybe like I said, if people are interested in our idea of doing silent movies and stuff, we will gladly share that on this channel then with how we've got to do it. We've actually discussed like screening the films here in the ballroom, which, I mean, you gotta think it's actually a dining room from this little house. It's not that big, but it's a ballroom for us, you know. But the idea was we could get maybe 6 people, not much, 6, and screen them here, and I can do the mix live with the movies playing, and then, but I'll be recording the mix during that viewing of it, and then we'll put all that up on YouTube. It should be kind of neat. Obviously, you wouldn't see any of that. That'd be more on our end, but maybe we could do something with that. Film a little bit of it, or get photos or whatever. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I think we're gonna cut this down. Hey, you, come here. You got fans, boy. You got fans. They need to see. Thor's doing good. He loves the new house. He's lost most of his teeth because he's an old man. Yeah. But he's been doing great. He really likes it here. Him and Solomon, they get along okay sometimes. He's old. He'll play with him for a while and then be like, I'm done. And Solomon doesn't quite understand. Solomon just had his first birthday, so he just wants to play. So, I believe that's all there is to this update. How long are we at here? Anyway, it's probably getting stupid long. 18 minutes. Woo! Okay, and you can hear Solomon whining in the background because he's mad. But anyway, gonna get out of here. Go ahead and edit this down quickly and try and upload it. Let me know if anything I talked about as far as the future of the channel is of interest. Again, I'd rather upload here than our other joint channel, which basically became a vlogging channel anyway. We can just do that here anyway. I actually uploaded some of my old videos from this channel to that one to try and help out with that. And yeah, no, trying to do 2 channels at once just didn't work, especially when the purpose of the other channel fell through. And now we're talking about just putting it here. So that's all for now. Hopefully I can get another video up, you know, a bit sooner than 6-7 months like this one was. But everything going on, we'll see. A lot going on, a lot of work and planning for the wedding and all that. So, yeah. Guess that's it. I know I keep saying that. Who knows how to end these things? This guy does.